It's another week and I'm happy to be back. How is your week going? How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. And my week has been so busy. I feel like I don't have enough time in the day because I want to do everything in one day. But that is not possible. I have to schedule myself properly and do according to my plan. And it's been working well. Sometimes we have this goal and we just want to jump and get to that goal, but there's a process in between the ideation and execution. And all glory to God, I've been in that process, just my head down, making sure that my P's are where they need to be, my Q's are where they need to be, and I'm not skipping step just because I want to get to the goal. And that is essential. This is also for you. If there is a goal that you've set from last year or at the beginning of this year, it's okay to feel like it's going slow. It's okay to feel like, how come I'm not even seeing the end result yet? There is a process, there is a gap between your ideas and seeing them come to life in the fruition of your idea. Take it easy on yourself. Building legacy takes time. Building something impactful takes a process, and the process is not always linear. This brings me to a question that I hear all the time from women that I work with, from friends, from people that I'm surrounded by. Am I doing enough? These are women that are doing great. Some of them are running companies, some of them are leading teams, some of them have their own 6, 7 figure businesses. They're building movements and generating consistent revenue. So when I hear this question, I'm a little baffled. By any external measure, they are doing more than enough. But that question haunts them because deep down, they know there's a difference between being busy and building something that lasts, between being visible and being valuable, and between making noise and making a mark. They are asking the wrong question. It's not, am I doing enough? The real question is, am I building a legacy? That is what we are going to be looking at in today's podcast. Hi, I am Juliet Olabanji, and welcome to Made for Influence podcast. Today, we are talking about what it actually means to create legacy level impact. Not the Instagram version, not the also culture, not fantasies, but something that is real, something substantive, becoming a woman who doesn't just achieve, but who transforms everything she touches. A friend of mine asked me about 2 weeks ago as I was taking her through a process, and she paused. She asked, Juliet, what does it mean to create a legacy level impact? And I was like, wow, now we are getting to the core. Deep introspection needed with this question. And I paused and I smiled and I told her, I'm going to answer your question with a podcast. So, this, alongside with all the other conversations and observations that I've had with women, high value, high net worth women, is why I'm creating this video. Here is what I know after years of working with high capacity women. You weren't built for average impact. You weren't designed to play small, to follow someone else's blueprint, to spend your one wild and precious life checking boxes that don't matter. Everyone at their core has an inbuilt hunger for greatness, and you are not an exception. You were made for more. And today we're going to talk about what that more actually looks like. The first thing I want to do with this conversation is clear away the noise, because the word legacy has been co-opted, commercialized, and completely gutted of its meaning. The mission of the Made org is to equip and help women build legacy level impact. And when I mean legacy level impact, it's not about how many followers you have. It's not about how much money you are able to make right now. It is not about the size of your revenue at the end of the year. It's not even about being featured in Forbes or speaking on a big stage or having a New York Times bestseller. All those things are good. Could those things be a part of your legacy? Sure, but they are not the legacy itself. Here is how the MADE organization, myself, define what legacy level impact is not. It's not performance. Legacy isn't built on how well you can present yourself to the world. It's not about the polished Instagram grid, the virality of your content, or the perfectly curated personal brand. Those things might reflect your work, but they are not the work itself. So many high capacity women are exhausted because they are spending their energy on their performance. They're spending their energy on looking successful, on appearing like they have it all together, on maintaining an image. And beneath that, I just laughed because I actually know someone, a man, that fits in this category as well. But beneath all that performance, they feel hollow because performance is inherently unsustainable. It requires you to constantly pop up an identity that may or may not be true. Legacy is what remains when performance stops. Legacy is not accumulation. Our culture is obsessed with more money, more achievements, more accolades, more proof that we matter. But legacy is not about how much you can accumulate before you die. It is not about dying with the most toys, with the most titles, with the most zeros behind your name in your bank account. I don't want you to misunderstand me. There is nothing wrong with money and success or building wealth. It is my mission to build wealth. But if you think those things are legacy, you will spend your entire life climbing a ladder that is leaning against the wrong wall. Legacy is not external validation. This is the big one. Legacy level impact is not about getting the world to finally see you, to approve of you, or validate that you were worth it all along. If you're building your legacy to prove something to your parent, to your ex, to the people that doubted you, even to yourself, you are building on sand and it's going to come crashing down eventually. Because external validation is a moving target. It will never be enough. There will always be another level. There will always be another person to impress. There will always be another achievement to unlock before you finally feel worthy. My husband says this, where you think you've arrived is where some people begin. Legacy built on the need for validation crumbles the moment the applause stops. So if legacy isn't performance, accumulation, or validation, what exactly is legacy level impact? Legacy level impact is about transformation that outlives you. It is about the way you change people. It's about the way you change systems, cultures, and the conversations in ways that continue to reverberate long after you've left the room, or maybe the earth. So let me break down what this actually means for the made woman when you come into our system. First, legacy is rooted in identity, not activity. The made woman understands something fundamental. Who you are determines what you build. Your identity is the foundation of your impact. We can't even talk about impact, let alone legacy, if your identity is misaligned. This is why our entire philosophy starts with the movement from identity to impact and then to legacy level impact. Because if you don't know who you are, if you're still operating on borrowed beliefs, inherited expectations, or someone else's timeline and definition of success, then everything you build will be unstable. Legacy level impact requires you to ask the hard questions. Who am I really? You think that is an easy question, but when we piece it out and we start breaking it down, a lot of people cannot answer this. What do I actually believe? What would I do if I wasn't afraid? If I wasn't trying to prove anything? If I knew I wouldn't fail? If I knew there would be a lack of judgment and critique? When you are rooted in your true identity, not the identity that you performed, not the identity that others expect of you, but the identity that God created you to embody, that's when your impact becomes inevitable. because you're no longer forcing it. You're no longer performing. You're no longer feeling intimidated to show up. You are flowing from what you are. You are flowing from your internal source. You are flowing from true identity. Second thing, legacy, it's about depth, not breadth. The made woman isn't trying to be everything to everyone. She is not chasing every opportunity, saying yes to every invitation, or spreading herself so thin. She's not trying to do all at once, then nothing gets her full attention. Legacy level impact is built through focused work, through sustained work, through deep work. It's about saying, this is my lane and I'm going to stay in my lane. This is my calling and I'm going to pursue my calling even when there isn't an applaud. This is the transformation I'm uniquely positioned to create. Then going so deep into that work that you become undeniable. Think about the women who have left true legacies in history. They weren't generalists. They weren't dibbling and dabbling in 50 different things. They found their thing. The intersection of their gift, their passion, and the world's need. And they went all in. Just in case you're wondering, what is that thing that I'm good at? Your gift, your passion, and the need for others. That's how you create value. Find that intersection. This requires you to have courage to say no, to prune back the good so that you can focus on the great, to release opportunities that would dilate your impact instead of deepening it. There are some associations that are good and I thought were good and would actually move me forward, but I see that internally we weren't aligned, so I had to do away with it. Third, legacy is built on relationships, not transaction. I wish I can hammer this enough. Some people would lead with transactions that they lose great relationships. Don't make the mistake of leading with transaction that you lose great relationship. Here's something that gets lost in our achievement-obsessed culture. Your legacy isn't what you accomplish alone. It is who you become with others and who you help others become. The made woman understands that influence isn't about how many people know your name. It's about how deeply you've invested in the people within your sphere of influence. Are you mentoring someone? Are you creating space for others to rise? Are you building a team culture where people don't just work for you, but they actually grow because of you? Legacy level impact means that 20 years from now, there are women leading companies, raising families, creating art, serving communities, and living free. And they can trace part of their transformation back to you. Not because you were perfect, but because you showed up, because you invested, because you saw them before they could see themselves. The fourth, legacy is sustained by systems, not heroics. This is where a lot of high capacity women get tripped up. They think legacy is built on their ability to do more, push harder, sacrifice more. No. They think if they just work hard enough, then they can will their impact into existence. But burnout doesn't build legacies. Martyrdom doesn't build movements. The made woman builds systems that can sustain her impact. She creates frameworks. She creates processes and rhythms that allow her work to scale beyond a personal capacity. If she's an executive, or she's leading multiple people, she's leading a nation, she documents her methodologies. She builds team. She creates intellectual property. She doesn't just do the work. She designed the work so that she can outlive her individual effort. This is what a lot of people don't really focus on. They focus on the external part. But the internal part that sustains the impact and turn it into legacy, it's lacking. This is an anti-hustle approach to legacy. It's not about working yourself to death. It's about building something so solid and so systematic, so replicable that it continues to create transformation, whether you are in the room or not. I've told you what legacy level impact is and what it's not. Now, what is the made woman approach? Let me tell you, and you can replicate this in your life, what it means to create legacy level impact and what it looks like as a made woman. In our manifesto and our philosophy, you can find that online. In our manifesto and our philosophy, you can find that online at themadeorg.com. You're not here to simply exist, to merely survive, to just get by. You were made for influence. You were made for impact, made to leave a mark on this world that reflects the divine capacity within you. So let me walk you through what this means practically. This means that you lead from the inside out. The made woman doesn't just start with strategy. She starts with soul. She doesn't ask what will work and start panicking. And she starts chasing after the thing that would so-called work. She asks what is true. This means that you are doing the inner work that most people skip. I had to say no to an opportunity because it just didn't align internally. You're examining your beliefs, you're healing your wounds, you're confronting your shadows, you are getting ruthlessly honest about things that you're operating from, whether it's fear, whether it's ego, whether it's the need to be validated by others, whether it's the need to prove yourself. Because here's the truth. You cannot build a legacy that is larger than your internal capacity. If you haven't done the work to know yourself, to heal from within, to root yourself in something deeper other than achievement, your impact will always be limited by your inner chaos. So in those moments where you're having the internal struggle, when you want to take a step and the self-sabotage comes, those are indicators of things that you need to work on before even thinking about legacy. Let me put this plainly. Legacy level impact requires internal integrity. You execute from identity, not obligation. When you are rooted in who you are, your actions flow naturally. You're not forcing yourself to do things because you should. You're not constantly battling resistance because you are working against your grain. So the made woman has done the deep work of understanding a unique design. She knows her strengths. She understands her seasons. She's in tune with her rhythm. She knows what drains her and she knows what fuels her. And she structures her life and her work accordingly. And to accelerate the system in this process, that is why I've created the Rooted Productivity System. And that is where it comes in. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what aligned. It really emphasizes and propels the work that you're doing. It creates the space for you and for the things that would work with you. I created the Rooted Productivity System so that it can also help the made woman systemize her routine, systemize her processes so that she can be in flow state. You're not trying to be productive like someone else. You're not discovering what productivity looks like for your specific identity, capacity, purpose, calling, alignment. You're building sustainability, and sustainability requires being rooted. The made woman rejects hustle culture. She rejects the narrative that burning out is the price of impact. Someone was telling me, oh, if you do this, then you're going to make so much money in this. Money comes and money goes. Understand that. I'm building something sustainable and long, and that does not mean that I have to get the money right now. Let me put it this way. The made woman understands something radical. You cannot create legacy level impact if you destroy yourself in the process. For some people, fear destroyed them. Unhealed wound destroyed them. The greed for money without process destroyed them. This means that you need to prioritize your well-being, not just as a luxury, but as a strategic necessity. And when I mean your well-being, that means internally as well. You rest, you play, you protect your energy, you create boundaries. You build margins into your life, not because you're weak and you're incapable, but because you're wise. I've studied women, and I know this for sure. The women who create lasting impact are the ones who learn to run marathons, not sprints. When you are a made woman and you are building for legacy level impact, you're building for decades, not days. You multiply yourself. Here's the ultimate mark of a legacy level impact. You don't just do great work, you create conditions for others to do great work. The made woman is a multiplier. What can I say? The woman that I align myself with, the woman that comes into our ecosystem, they are a multiplier. We see this in them even before they see this in themselves. They don't hoard knowledge, they share it. She doesn't gatekeep opportunities. She opens doors because she understands abundance. She doesn't build a kingdom. She builds a movement. This might look like mentoring. It might look like building a team. It might look like creating content that equip thousands, hundreds and thousands of women that will never meet you, or they may never meet you. Let me just say that. It may look like raising children in the values of God, understanding what values and their purpose and their calling is, and how do you harness your internal feminine wisdom for them to manifest their purpose. The principle is the same. Your impact multiplies when you invest in others. Let me say this one more time. If you are a made woman, your impact multiplies when you invest in others. So, here's what I want you to hear today. You are not here by accident. You're not listening to me by accident. You're not watching me by accident. Your capacity is not a burden, it's a gift. Your ambition is something that you don't even have to apologize for or hide. It's a good thing. It is something that you need to steward well. If you're around people that doubt you, do away with that environment and rise up. You are made for legacy level impact, but legacy isn't built in a day. It is not built in a quarter or even a year. It is built in the 1,000 small decisions, in those little tiny fraction moments, those split seconds decisions that you make about who you are becoming and how you're showing up. It is built when you choose depth over breadth, when you choose integrity over image, and when you choose sustainability over heroics. Legacy level impact is built when you choose to invest in others instead of just self-advancement, advancing for your own benefit. It is built when you stop performing and you start becoming. The made woman doesn't create legacy by accident. She creates on purpose, with intention, with strategy, with a soul. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have the perfect plan. You just have to be willing to start where you are, with what you have, rooted in who you truly are. Because when you are rooted in your identity, connected to your purpose, and you are committed to the long game, legacy is inevitable. Not because you forced it, but because it is who you are. You were made for this. You are a made woman. So, if today's conversation resonated with you, I want you to go deeper. I want you to visit themadeorg.com to learn more about our programs and how we can work together. I want you to go take a look at our philosophy and how we equip women like yourself, high capacity women, and how we help women move from identity to impact, and from impact to a legacy level, sustainable life. Because you weren't just made to exist, you are made to leave a legacy. Thank you for watching today's show. I am Juliet Olabanji, and this is Made for Influence podcast. Make sure you share this podcast with 2 of your friends and you follow us on your streaming platform. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Juliet in Frame. It's all together at Juliet in Frame on YouTube. There are more content to help you and to equip you on this journey so that you can glow from the inside out and start creating the impact that you know that you were created for. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.